Hey fellas, here's the recording of you swimming. I'll play it through and then I'll go back over it and just give you a couple of comments. You can see there's a lot of kicking going on here for both of you. It's, as we talked about, that's way too much. And if you did that before you, while you're doing your triathlon, your legs will be pretty buggered by the time you get on a bicycle. So that's one thing that you need to keep an eye on. So the other thing is, we talked about when you put your arm in, it should go straight into that position number 1, which is not too bad there, and it gets there with that single kick. And then as it comes through, you want to try and get to that vertical forearm as soon as you can. So you want to get into that position, and as you go through, you should try and maintain that vertical forearm. You can see what is happening there is actually you've got on a bit of a slight bend like that, instead of having it straight down. So this position here really is the only time throughout your whole stroke where you got your arm straight down. So it's something that's super important. We talked about the pedal, the kayak pedal, and you really want to keep that forearm pointing down the whole way through as much as you can. And even there, when it comes out, you can kind of have your hand down like that and elongate that stroke as much as possible so that you get the longest possible stroke. And you get into that starting position with just that one flick kick, but it's looking pretty good, I reckon. We didn't get an after video, of course, but there was definite improvement throughout the session. Really, if you keep on swimming, you should be doing, look, you can see that terrible arm. You should really be coming out in about the 10th or 15th percentile, because you're pretty fast, pretty strong swimmer. If you just sort that out, and also if we have a look from it above, and see you're doing lots of kicking there as well. It's not a bad kick, it's just really tiring. When we look from above as well, you will notice when you we'll just look at the alignment here. You're snaking down the pool. It was really bad. So the way to not do that is, if we play that through, you see on so that's breathing on the other side. You're getting that snake. It's really bad. So what you want to do is, and that's caused by usually not going wide enough. So in from your shoulder, we'll see in the next clip. You can see your hands crossing there, way over. Yeah, see your hand there is way over there. That's bad, so don't do that. You see it from the front shot. On your breathing stroke, coming in here. Okay, your hand should be like this. Just because you're breathing doesn't change what your arms are doing. So this is what's causing that snaking that we talked about. This is really good. That angle there is about 120 degrees. So Tyler, for you want to slow that kicking down and drive that leading arm in, or you both drive the leading arm in with that flick kick. So you're doing one kick per stroke. And Lucy, you're pretty good. You're better. Except you're kicking too much. And remember we talked about how that the kick is not propelling you at all. It's just tiring you out. And when you got your wetsuit, you don't need to kick to keep elevated. Although you're both already really well elevated. Like, this is excellent balance. You suffer from, again, not having that, it's called the high vertical forearm. So again, when you're out front, you should be trying to get that position. Whenever you draw a line from your shoulder down to your wrist, your elbow should always be this side of that line to get that pedal. So you can see how I can't quite draw that line. You can see how your elbow is behind. Again, this is the only time that your forearm is directly down. So that makes a big difference. So again, you work at that single kick to drive that arm in. You're probably going in a little bit shallow. You see how it's going in. It's all right to drive it straight down here. And then you pull back from there. Because anything above that, you see it's not pulling you back at all. You're not really pulling water back until about there. So it's all right to put your arm in straight into that position instead of going through this first bit here. Put it straight in there, and then get into that position where you pull it back. And also what is evident when you look from the front, so you got really high turnover and it's just tiring. When you're not quite so bad on the snaking there, can see it's a little bit out. Obviously you want to keep your backbone straight the whole way. But what I did want to show you is if we play this at normal speed. Notice your hand's really busy. It's not grabbing much water. So you don't have a firm grip of the water. Your hand's going through. So what you should be doing is just slowing it down a bit. So your hand should go in straight, and then if you did do that early vertical forearm where you turn your forearm into the paddle, you'd be getting a far better grip of the water Remember we talked about getting that hand on the rung of the ladder and pulling yourself past it. You don't want to move the water behind you. You want to catch hold of the water, and you need to do that by making this bit here a bit slower. And then you can start by dipping your wrist from the side on. Good backwards swimming. When you go straight in here, but you can start by dipping your wrist. That gets you a slightly better catch, and before you then dip your forearm. And so you start off slow with your catch, and then as you go through, it gets faster and faster. And when you flick that hip over, you should be zooming that back arm down that way. That's part of that hip flip. But pretty good going, both of you. If you keep on practicing, you will get good results. I'm more than happy to do a follow-up session. Cheers.